You know that moment when you're standing in the dairy aisle of Target, comparing Greek yogurt options like a responsible adult, and your whole life implodes via voice memo? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. I'm Paige, 36, Austin native, currently holding Chobani in one hand and my phone in the other, staring at a message from my sister-in-law Vera that starts with, "I can't keep lying to you anymore." Now, Vera isn't the dramatic type. She's 32, teaches third grade, wears cardigans with seasonal embroidery, and considers darn it a strong expression. So when she sends, "Sorry, I can't keep lying to you. My brother made me swear to secrecy, but," followed by an 8-minute audio file, my stomach drops faster than Bitcoin in a bear market. I pressed play right there between the organic section and the cheese display. The first voice was Vera's, shaky and whispered, "Paige, I'm so sorry. I recorded this Saturday afternoon at Mom's house. Corbin thought he was alone. I was dropping off my girls for the weekend and heard him through the office door. Just listen." Then came my husband's voice. Corbin, 39, self-proclaimed financial genius, the man who's been managing my investments for 2.5 years. Casual, confident, talking on speakerphone like he was ordering pizza. "Yeah, those $45,000 I pulled from the joint account this month to pay the LLC, Paige didn't even notice. She thinks it's all going into the high-yield investment fund. I've already transferred $720,000 of the $853 from her inheritance into the business LLC. Just need to move the last $133,000 and I'm golden. 2 more months I file for divorce, dissolve the LLC, claim the investments failed, and leave her with nothing." The yogurt hit the floor. A woman with a toddler in her cart gave me a concerned look. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The voice on the recording continued. Presumably his accountant or lawyer, I couldn't process it, discussing timeline for asset dispersal and divorce filing strategy. My husband, my partner of 8 years, married for 6. The man who held me when my grandmother died in March almost 3 years ago, who offered to manage the $853,000 inheritance she left me because, "Babe, this is what I do for a living. Let me take care of you." Take care of me. Right. Context. Because my brain was simultaneously shutting down and going into hyperdrive. My grandmother, the most incredible woman I've ever known, left me that money after 60 years of careful saving and smart investing. She was a bookkeeper who never made more than $40,000 a year, but died a near millionaire through pure discipline and compound interest. When Corbin offered to manage it professionally, I thought I'd won the spouse lottery. He's a financial consultant, has the fancy office in the Arboretum, the LinkedIn with 3,000+ connections, always talking about portfolios and diversification strategies and aggressive growth opportunities. He showed me projections, beautiful charts showing my money growing at 12 to 15% annually. He'd pull up his phone whenever I asked about the investments. "Look, babe, see? It's up another 8,000 this quarter." I never logged in myself because he explained it was structured through the business LLC for optimal tax advantages. Only the primary financial advisor has direct access, but check out these quarterly reports. Those reports? Apparently fiction. Well-crafted, official-looking fiction. And those documents I signed? Just quarterly beneficiary updates and portfolio rebalancing authorizations? Those were transfer authorizations to move my money into his shell company. Standing in Target, yogurt pooling around my sneakers, I did the math through my shock. 2.5 years. He'd been systematically stealing from me for 2.5 years. The recording continued. Corbin's voice, so casual it made me want to scream, "She's clueless about this stuff. I tell her the market's volatile." She nods. I tell her we need to rebalance, she signs. Honestly, it's almost too easy. Almost too easy. That specific phrase broke something in me. A Target employee appeared with a mop. "Ma'am, are you okay?" I looked at her, this 19-year-old kid in a red polo, and laughed. Actually laughed. It came out slightly unhinged. My husband's stealing my inheritance and planning to leave me with nothing. But hey, at least I'm finding out in the yogurt section and not somewhere embarrassing. Her eyes went wide. "Do you need me to call someone?" I did. I needed to call someone immediately. I left my cart, walked straight to my car, and sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes replaying that audio. listening to every word, every calculation, every casual assumption that I was too stupid to notice. She doesn't understand anything about finance. Oh, Corbin, you beautiful, arrogant idiot. Because here's what you didn't know about me. Yes, I let you handle the investments. Yes, I trusted you. Yes, I signed documents without reading every clause because you're my husband, and I didn't think I needed to lawyer-proof our marriage. But you know what else? My grandmother didn't leave her money to an idiot. She left it to someone who graduated summa cum laude with a business degree, who spent 3 years in corporate banking before switching to interior design because I actually wanted to enjoy my life. I understand finance just fine, sweetheart. I just didn't think I needed to audit my own husband. My hands were shaking as I pulled up my contact list, found the name I needed, Simone Harding, attorney at law. My friend Madison had used her during her divorce last year, called her the shark who eats other sharks for breakfast. It was 4:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. I called anyway. Harding Law, this is Simone. My husband's been stealing my inheritance for 2 years, and I have an 8-minute recorded confession. How fast can you see me? A pause. Then, how fast can you get to my office? 30 minutes. I'll be waiting. Bring that recording, any bank statements you have access to, and a timeline of everything you can remember. End page. Don't tell him you know. Not yet. Don't tip him off. How did you know my name? Caller ID. Also, I remember Madison mentioning you. She said if you ever needed me, I should drop everything. Said you're scary smart when you're motivated. I wiped my face, started my car. Simone, I'm very motivated right now. Good, because we're going to absolutely destroy this man. I drove to her office in downtown Austin, that recording playing 3 more times through my car speakers. Each playback made me angrier, calmer, more focused. By the time I parked, I wasn't crying anymore. I was planning. Simone's office was everything you'd expect from a lawyer nicknamed the Shark. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Congress Avenue, diplomas from UT Law and Harvard, and a coffee table that probably cost more than my car. She was exactly how Madison described. Early 50s, silver hair and a sharp bob, designer suit that screamed, I bill $400 an hour and I'm worth every penny. Play the recording, she said before I even sat down. I did. All 8 minutes. She listened with her eyes closed, occasionally jotting notes on a legal pad. When it ended, she looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. How many documents did you sign? I don't know. Maybe 15? 20? Over 2 years. Do you have copies? He always said they were filed with the LLC records and he'd send me copies later. I trusted him. My voice cracked on that last part. Simone's expression softened exactly 0%. Stop. No self-flagellation in my office. Trust isn't stupidity. Fraud works because people exploit good faith. Your husband's a con artist who happens to sleep in your bed. Now, let's destroy him. She pulled out a form. Emergency motion to freeze all accounts associated with him and the LLC. We file tomorrow morning. I have a judge who owes me a favor. We'll have a hearing by Thursday, Friday, latest. That fast? Honey, we have a recorded confession of ongoing fraud. Judges love slam dunks. She leaned forward. But I need you to do something incredibly difficult. Go home tonight. Act completely normal. Do not, under any circumstances, let him know you know. My stomach turned. I have to pretend everything's fine? For 36 hours, yes. If he suspects you know, he'll move that remaining money before we can freeze it. Can you do it? I thought about my grandmother. About 60 years of discipline and careful planning, reduced to funding my husband's midlife crisis. Yeah, I can do it. Good. Now tell me everything about your financial situation. Joint accounts, credit cards, his business structure, properties, vehicles. For the next 90 minutes, we went through everything. And let me tell you, when you're explaining your life to a lawyer taking notes like she's documenting a crime scene, you start seeing patterns you missed. Like how Corbin always scheduled client dinners on Thursdays and came home smelling like cheap perfume and expensive whiskey. How he'd leased a new BMW, leased through the business, tax deductible, that I never questioned. How our joint account always seemed to hover around $35,000 no matter what, even though he claimed his business was booming. Simone's paralegal, a terrifyingly efficient woman named Iris, joined us with a laptop. Let's see what public records show. Turns out, quite a lot. The LLC, Hartwell Financial Solutions, was registered 2 years and 7 months ago, right after Grandma died. The business address? A UPS store in Round Rock. Classic shell company setup, Simone muttered. Business license, EIN, the works. Looks legitimate on paper. No actual office, no employees, no real business activity. Just a vehicle to move money. Iris pulled up more documents. He's got 3 separate bank accounts under the LLC name at different banks. Smart. Spreads the paper trail. How much has he moved? I asked, though I already knew from the recording. Iris's fingers flew across the keyboard. Based on what we're seeing in business filings and cross-referencing with standard transfer limits, approximately $720,000 over 29 months. I did the math. That's almost $25,000 per month. Some months more, some less. Iris confirmed. Looks like he accelerated in the last 6 months. Been pulling $45,000 to $50,000 monthly. Simone wrote something down. And the remaining $133,000 is still in your name. I guess? I mean, I haven't checked the original inheritance account in months. He said it was restructured into the LLC portfolio for tax efficiency. We're checking first thing tomorrow. Simone fixed me with a look. Paige, I need to prepare you for something. When we do a full forensic audit, and we will, we're going to find out exactly what he spent this money on. It won't be pretty. Strip clubs? I said flatly, remembering his words on the tape. Vegas trips? A secret apartment? Maybe all of the above. Are you ready for that? Here's the thing about discovering your husband is a thief. The betrayal is almost worse than the theft. The money? Money can be recovered, earned, rebuilt. But knowing the man you shared a bed with, planned a future with, trusted with your grandmother's legacy, was lying to your face every single day? That cuts different. I'm ready, I said. Show me everything. By 9 o'clock that night, I had a plan. Well, Simone had a plan and I had marching orders. 1. Go home, act normal. 2. Do not access any accounts or tip him off. 3. Come to her office Thursday morning with every document I could find. 4. Let her handle the legal warfare I drove home in a daze. Our house, a cute craftsman in Hyde Park that we bought 3 years ago, looked exactly the same. Warm light through the windows. Corbin's BMW in the driveway. I sat in my car for 5 full minutes, practicing my face in the rearview mirror. Normal Paige, clueless Paige, the Paige who doesn't understand finance. I walked in at 9:40. Corbin was on the couch watching ESPN, beer in hand, picture of casual contentment. Hey, babe, how was your day? He smiled. That same smile I fell in love with 8 years ago at a friend's barbecue. Long, I said, and it wasn't even a lie. Target was a nightmare. Forgot half of what I needed. Want me to order dinner? Thai from that place you like? I forced a smile. That'd be great. I'm gonna take a shower. In the bathroom, I turned the water on full blast and cried for exactly 3 minutes. Then I washed my face, put on yoga pants, and went back downstairs to eat pad thai with the man actively stealing my future. He talked about his day, something about a difficult client. I nodded, made appropriate sounds, laughed at his jokes. Inside, I was cataloging everything. The expensive watch he wore, the new golf clubs in the garage, the business trip to Dallas next week that probably wasn't business at all. You okay? He asked at one point. You seem quiet. Just tired? I think I'm getting a cold. He bought it. Of course he bought it. I was supposed to be the clueless wife who signed whatever he put in front of her. That night, lying next to him in bed, listening to him snore, I thought about my grandmother. About her funeral almost 3 years ago, where Corbin held my hand and whispered, "She'd be so proud of you. Let me honor her memory by taking care of this for you." Taking care of it. Right. Thursday morning, I was at Simone's office at 8 sharp with a box of every financial document I could find. Loan papers, old bank statements, that folder of investment reports Corbin gave me quarterly. Iris went through everything with forensic precision. These reports are completely fabricated. See this letterhead? This company doesn't exist. The account numbers? Fake. He created an entire paper trail of nothing. How much work is that? I asked, almost impressed by the audacity. Hours, Iris said. He spent hours creating fake documents to show you. Somehow, that made it worse. The premeditation, the effort. This wasn't an impulsive mistake. This was a long game. By noon, we had the emergency motion filed. By Friday at 2 p.m., we were in front of Judge Patricia Monroe, who took one look at the evidence and froze everything. All accounts associated with Hartwell Financial Solutions LLC and Corbin James Hartwell are hereby frozen pending forensic audit. Emergency protection order granted. Corbin's lawyer, some guy he'd obviously called in a panic that morning, sputtered objections. The judge shut him down. Counselor, your client is on tape admitting to fraud. We're done here. Walking out of that courthouse, Simone turned to me. Now the real fun begins. Forensic audit starts Monday. We're going to find every penny and make him regret ever thinking you were stupid. How long? 3 weeks? Maybe 4? But Paige, we're going to win this. Spectacularly. I smiled. Actually smiled. Simone? That financial advisor's gala he always goes to? The annual networking event? What about it? It's in 3 weeks, and I just found out they have an open mic segment. Simone's eyes lit up like she'd just spotted blood in the water. Oh, honey, tell me more. 3 weeks. That's how long the forensic audit took to document exactly what Corbin did with my grandmother's money. 3 weeks of living in a furnished corporate apartment downtown because Simone advised me to create distance. The first few days, Corbin tried calling and texting until the messages suddenly stopped. His lawyer must have told him to knock it off. Then silence, which was somehow worse. The audit results came back on a Wednesday morning. Simone called me into her office with Iris and a forensic accountant named Bernard who looked like he'd seen some things. How bad? I asked, sitting down. Bernard opened a binder thick enough to kill a man. Do you want the summary or the detailed breakdown? Summary first. I'll work up to the rage. He almost smiled. Of the $853,000 inheritance, we've accounted for $755,000. The remaining $98,000 was spent over the past 2 years on what we categorize as personal luxury expenses and entertainment. Entertainment. That was one word for it. $47,000 on vehicle payments, Bernard continued, flipping pages. Specifically, a BMW 540i with an M Sport package. Lease payments of $1,950 monthly for 24 months. The car, he said, was tax-deductible business expense. I said flatly. Correct. However, the lease is in his personal name, not the LLC. So no, not deductible. Just fraud. Iris handed me a printout. $31,000 at various establishments over 18 months. Primarily gentlemen's clubs in Austin, Dallas, and Houston. I looked at the list. The Yellow Rose. Perfect 10. XTC Cabaret. Dates and amounts helpfully highlighted. He told me he was at financial conferences. I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Dallas Wealth Management Summit. Houston Investment Forum. Those are real events, Bernard confirmed. He probably attended for 2 hours, got his conference badge for the Instagram photo, then spent the evening making it rain with your inheritance. The rage I'd been holding in for 3 weeks crystallized into something cold and sharp. What else? $15,000 in vacation expenses. Cancun once, Las Vegas twice, Miami once. All solo trips. Or, Bernard cleared his throat. Solo according to the hotel reservations under his name. The room service charges suggest otherwise. Simone leaned forward. We subpoenaed his credit card records. The patterns are consistent with someone traveling with a companion. Duplicate drinks, couples spa treatments, romantic dinners. He told me those were networking trips, building client relationships. I laughed, and it came out sharp enough to cut. Guess he was building something. The detailed breakdown continued. Bernard consolidated the remaining expenses. $5,000 in miscellaneous charges, luxury restaurants, designer clothes, golf weekends, retail stores, bars, Ubers, parking. I did the math in my head. So we recovered $720,000 frozen in the LLC accounts, plus the $35,000 still in our joint account. That's $755. The $98,000 is just gone. Spent on his midlife crisis tour of Texas strip clubs. Correct, Simone said. But here's the good news. All of this is documented. Dates, locations, amounts. every transaction traced. And Texas is a community property state, which means this constitutes dissipation of marital assets, plus fraud, forgery, and theft, Iris added cheerfully. The criminal case is solid, Simone continued. The DA's office is moving forward with charges. But civilly, we're suing for the full $853,000, plus legal fees, plus damages. He'll owe you everything. When's the trial? 6 months, maybe 8. But Paige, we've already won. He knows it. His lawyer knows it. The judge knows it. This is just running out the clock. I stared at the binder, at the spreadsheets documenting my husband's betrayal in 12-point font. 2 years of lies, quantified. The gala, I said. It's this Saturday. Simone's expression shifted into something predatory. Have you been in touch with the organizer? Karen Donnelly. We went to UT together. She's on the board of the Austin Financial Advisors Association. I called her last week. And? I pulled out my phone, showed them the email exchange. They have a segment during dinner where they do announcements, awards, sponsor recognitions. Karen said they always invite members to share brief testimonials about the value of professional financial guidance. Usually it's clients thanking their advisors. How brief? 5 minutes, max. With the microphone and the projection screen, Iris actually grinned. Oh, this is happening. Simone held up a hand. Paige, I need to be clear. This is your choice. Legally, we don't need public humiliation to win. We've already got him. But if you do this, there's no taking it back. It'll be nuclear. I thought about my grandmother. About her funeral where Corbin squeezed my hand and promised to honor her legacy. About 2 years of signing documents while he called me stupid behind my back. About $31,000 at strip clubs that could have funded a small nonprofit in her name. I want him to know what it feels like, I said quietly. To have everyone see him for what he really is. To lose the one thing he values more than money. His reputation. Then let's make it count, Simone said. What do you need from us? We spent the next 3 hours planning. Simone and Iris helped me build a presentation that was legally airtight. No defamation, no disclosure of sealed information, just public record and court-admitted evidence. I practiced my delivery, cut it down to exactly 4 minutes, 30 seconds, loaded the slides, side-by-side comparisons of fake investment reports versus real bank statements, a timeline of withdrawals, the list of strip clubs with total amount spent, the BMW lease, the vacation destinations, and one slide that was just his own words from the recording. She doesn't understand anything about finance. Karen confirmed I was scheduled between the scholarship announcement and the award for Outstanding Young Advisor. Perfect timing. Everyone would be paying attention, pleasantly buzzed from the open bar, but not too drunk to miss the show. You sure about this? Vera asked when I called her Thursday night. I mean, I'm Team Paige forever, but this is going to get messy. Vera, you recorded that audio because you couldn't live with watching him destroy me in silence. This is me returning the favor. For both of us. Then I'm coming. Front row, with popcorn. It's a seated dinner. Then front table, with wine. Saturday morning, I went to the salon, got my hair done, wore the burgundy dress I'd been saving for something special. Simone, Iris, Vera, and 3 of my closest friends, Madison, Elle, and Thea, met me in the hotel lobby at 6. You look like you're about to ruin someone's life, Madison said approvingly. That's the plan. The gala was at the Four Seasons downtown. 300 financial professionals in cocktail attire, networking over past appetizers and Austin ambition. Corbin was at a table near the front with some colleagues, clearly trying to project confidence despite knowing his accounts were frozen and his career was imploding. He saw me walk in. The blood drained from his face. I smiled, waved, kept walking to my table, purchased with my newly recovered money, VIP location with perfect sightlines to the stage. Karen found me during appetizers. You ready? Born ready. Good. You're on in 20 minutes. And Paige? Make it memorable. The lights dimmed for announcements. The scholarship recipient gave a sweet speech about achieving dreams. The Young Advisor Award went to some guy from Dallas who thanked his mentors and his mom. Then Karen returned to the microphone. Before we break for dessert, we have a special testimonial. Paige has some thoughts on financial literacy and the importance of trust in advisor-client relationships. Paige? I stood, smoothed my dress. walked to the stage on legs that felt steadier than they had in weeks. The room quieted. 300 faces turned toward me. I smiled into the microphone. "Hi, everyone. My name is Paige, and I learned a very expensive lesson about financial trust recently. Turns out Till Death Do Us Part doesn't cover fraud, embezzlement, or strip club receipts totaling $31,000. But let's start at the beginning. The thing about 300 financial professionals in one room is that they're all trained to spot inconsistencies. They live for numbers, patterns, discrepancies. They're the worst possible audience to lie to, and the best possible audience to expose a liar. I advanced to my first slide. Side-by-side comparison of the quarterly investment report Corbin showed me versus the actual bank statement. Same date. Wildly different numbers. "This," I said, pointing to the left side, "is what my husband showed me for Q2 of last year. Portfolio value, $632,000. Impressive 12% growth, right?" I clicked to highlight the right side. "This is the actual account balance that same quarter, $83,000. Because he'd already transferred $549,000 to his LLC. Anyone here want to guess what happened to that money?" Dead silence. You could hear the air conditioning. Next slide. The LLC structure. Business license, EIN, registered agent address at a UPS store. Hartwell Financial Solutions LLC. Looks legitimate, doesn't it? Business address in Round Rock. Proper paperwork. There's just one problem. It's a shell. No office, no employees, no actual business. Just a very expensive personal checking account disguised as financial services. I saw Corbin stand up. His colleague grabbed his arm, pulled him back down. Smart man. "Let's talk about what happens when you trust someone with your deceased grandmother's life savings," I continued, my voice steady despite the rage simmering underneath. $853,000. 60 years of her working as a bookkeeper, never making more than $40,000 annually, saving every penny. She left it to me because she believed I'd use it wisely. Click. Timeline slide showing transfers over 29 months. My husband transferred $720,000 of that inheritance into his LLC over 2.5 years. That's about $25,000 per month on average. But here's where it gets interesting. He accelerated in recent months. 45 to 50,000 monthly. Why the hurry? I paused for effect. Because he was planning to file for divorce in 2 months, dissolve the LLC, claim the investments failed, and leave me with nothing. Don't take my word for it. Here's his. I played a brief clip of the audio. Just the key part. She doesn't understand anything about finance. Signs everything I put in front of her without reading. The room erupted. Gasps, whispers. Someone actually said, "Oh my God," loud enough to hear. Corbin was on his feet again. This time, he made it 3 steps toward the exit before I advanced to the next slide. $720,000 recovered and frozen by emergency court order, but $98,000 was already spent. Let me show you where it went. Click. The breakdown in beautiful pie chart form. $47,000 on a BMW 540i with M Sport package. Not the business vehicle he claimed was tax deductible. Personal lease in his name. $31,000 at various gentlemen's clubs over 18 months. I let that sink in. The Yellow Rose, Perfect 10, XTC Cabaret, and several establishments in Dallas and Houston. For context, that's enough money to fund a year of scholarships for 3 students. Instead, it funded, well, you get the idea. A woman at Corbin's table stood up and walked out. Several others shifted uncomfortably. $15,000 in vacation expenses. Cancun once, Las Vegas twice, Miami once. All supposedly networking trips. Except the hotel room service charges suggest couples' spa treatments and romantic dinners for 2. So either he was networking very intimately, or... That's defamation. Corbin's lawyer, who I just noticed was present, stood up. You can't... It's court-submitted evidence from a forensic audit, I said calmly. Public record. Would you like me to cite the case number? I have it right here. The lawyer sat down. I advanced through the remaining slides. The fake company letterheads. The forged signatures. The timeline of lies. Final slide. Just text. Simple and devastating. What my husband didn't know. I graduated summa cum laude with a business degree. Spent 3 years in corporate banking before switching careers. I understood finance just fine. I just didn't think I needed to forensically audit my own marriage. I looked directly at Corbin, who was still standing near his table, trapped by the crowd. You called me stupid. You stole my grandmother's legacy. You spent 2 years lying to my face while planning to destroy me financially. But here's what you really didn't understand. Trust isn't stupidity, and breaking someone's trust isn't the same as breaking them. I clicked to the final image. The court order freezing all his accounts, his LLC, his assets. The criminal case for fraud and forgery is proceeding. Civil suit for the full amount plus damages and legal fees is filed. His financial advisor license is under investigation by this association's ethics board, and 3 of his clients have already requested audits of their own investments after seeing this evidence. That last part wasn't in the presentation originally, but I'd gotten a text from Simone during my speech. Apparently, people were emailing the association in real time. I'm sharing this not for revenge, though I won't lie, this does feel pretty good, but because everyone in this room handles other people's money, their trust, their futures. And you need to know that one of your members was using his professional credibility to commit fraud on his own wife. The room was silent, except for the sound of Corbin finally making it to the exit. He had to squeeze past at least 20 people, all of whom stepped back like he was contagious. Thank you for your time, I said. Dessert should be excellent. I recommend the chocolate torte. I walked off stage to complete silence. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then many in the room erupted in applause. Vera was crying at our table. Madison was on her feet cheering. Simone just raised her wine glass with a smile that would have terrified a shark. Karen found me in the hallway 10 minutes later. The board is convening an emergency meeting Monday morning. That ethics investigation you mentioned? It's happening. Several members are requesting his immediate suspension pending review. How fast do these things usually go? Normal timeline? 6 to 12 months? After that presentation? I'd say he's done in 6 weeks. She wasn't wrong. The formal suspension came down in 4 weeks. Loss of license followed in 7. But the real damage was immediate and social. By Sunday morning, every financial professional in Austin knew. By Monday, his 3 remaining clients pulled their accounts. By Wednesday, his lawyer called Simone to discuss settlement terms. He wants to settle, she told me over coffee downtown, offering full restitution of $98,000, all legal fees, and temporary alimony for 18 months while you get back on your feet. And the criminal charges? Still proceeding. The DA's office doesn't negotiate away fraud, but civilly, this is a clean win. I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Take it. I want this over. The divorce was finalized in 11 weeks. Fastest I'd ever heard of in Travis County. Judge Monroe seemed personally offended by the whole case and expedited everything. The house in Hyde Park went on the market, sold in 6 weeks for $740,000. After paying off the mortgage and closing costs, we split $112,000 in equity. My half, $56,000, went straight into my fresh start. Final accounting. I recovered $755,000 from frozen accounts. Corbin paid back the $98,000 he'd spent over 2 years through a payment plan since he was now unemployed. $23,000 in legal fees covered. $1,500 monthly alimony for 18 months while I rebuilt my interior design business. Total recovery, $959,000. $876,000 in immediate restitution and legal fees, $56,000 from our house sale, and $27,000 in alimony payments over 18 months. More than the original inheritance. Significantly more. I moved to a condo in the east side that had better light and 0 memories of my husband's betrayal. And I found a new financial advisor. Her name is Estelle. She's a 58-year-old woman who spent 20 years at Morgan Stanley before starting her own firm. First meeting, she handed me login credentials to view everything in real time. I don't manage money in the dark, she said. You'll have full access 24/7. You want to check balances at 3 a.m.? Go ahead. You want monthly printed statements? Done. My job is to grow your wealth. Your job is to trust, but verify. Perfect. 6 months after that gala, I'm sitting in my east side condo with floor-to-ceiling windows, morning light streaming across hardwood floors I picked myself, drinking coffee that tastes better because I'm not sharing space with a criminal. Turns out, financial fraud has some unexpected benefits. Like clarity. People ask me all the time, "Aren't you angry? Don't you hate him?" And honestly, no. Hate requires emotional investment, and I'm fresh out. What I feel is something closer to bemused contempt, like watching someone trip over their own shoelaces after spending an hour explaining how shoelaces work. Corbin lost more than money. He lost his career, his reputation, his community, and his carefully constructed identity as a financial genius. Last I heard, he's working at a car dealership in Round Rock, not managing the finances, selling the cars. Apparently, even used car lots have standards about hiring convicted fraudsters for their accounting department. His license revocation is permanent in Texas. He'd have to move states, rebuild credentials from scratch, pass ethics reviews. At 39 with a fraud conviction? Good luck with that. Meanwhile, Vera and I have Sunday brunch twice a month. She still feels guilty about not speaking up sooner, even though I've told her 100 times that family loyalty is complicated, and she ultimately made the right call. Her daughters, my former nieces, though we don't use former anymore, call me Aunt Paige and don't remember their Uncle Corbin ever being married to someone else. Kids are adaptable like that. Simone bills me for exactly 0 hours now. We're friends. Real friends. The kind who text each other ridiculous legal memes and meet for wine when we need to complain about men, money, or Monday mornings. She says I'm her favorite client victory story. I told her that's a low bar considering most of her clients are going through divorces. She said, "Exactly. Most of them just survive. You thrived." Estelle, my actual financial advisor, sends me monthly statements I can verify independently. We meet quarterly to discuss strategy. She's teaching me to read market reports, understand risk profiles, build real wealth. Last month, she said, "You know, you're better at this than half my clients with finance degrees." I told her my ex-husband would be shocked to hear that. She said, "Your ex-husband is an idiot." Can't argue with that assessment. My interior design business is thriving in ways it never did when I was distracted by a marriage. Turns out when you're not emotionally managing a man-child who's secretly bankrupting you, you have energy for actual work. I landed 3 major clients in 4 months, including a full renovation of a law office downtown. Simone referred me, said she wanted her space to reflect the energy of someone who wins. The money, my grandmother's money, is growing the way it was supposed to. Estelle has it in a diversified portfolio that I understand and can monitor. Every quarter I see real returns. Actual growth. Not fantasies designed to placate me while someone raids the vault. And here's the thing about that money. It's not just currency anymore. It's proof. Proof that my grandmother's 60 years of discipline mattered. Proof that trust shouldn't mean blind faith. Proof that financial literacy isn't about being smart. It's about being informed. I think about her sometimes, my grandmother, watching all this unfold. She'd probably laugh at the gala presentation. She had a wicked sense of humor under that bookkeeper exterior. Then she'd sit me down and say exactly what she said when I was 10, and got scammed trading Pokemon cards. Now you know. So what are you going to do with that knowledge? What I'm doing is teaching other women. Not officially. I'm not running seminars or writing books. But when friends ask about finances, I sit down with them, show them how to access accounts, explain what red flags look like, share my grandmother's philosophy, trust people but verify numbers. Another friend, Elle, is getting divorced now, different reasons, no fraud, but she called me first. I connected her with Simone, explained what documents to gather, helped her find her financial footing before filing. She's going to be fine, better than fine. That's the legacy my grandmother actually left me. Not $853,000. The understanding that money is power only if you know where it is and what it's doing. Corbin thought he was stealing my inheritance. What he actually did was give me an education worth more than he could have taken. He proved that trust without transparency is just another word for vulnerability. That "I'll handle it" is sometimes code for "I'm handling you." And most importantly, he taught me that the opposite of stupid isn't smart, it's informed. So no, I'm not angry anymore. I'm grateful. Not to him, never to him, but to Vera for making the hard call, to Simone for being brilliant and ruthless, to my grandmother for building something that couldn't be completely destroyed, even by a man with professional credentials and access to everything. Last week I was at Target, same one, same dairy aisle, and a woman recognized me from the viral video someone posted of the gala speech. She stopped her cart, looked at me and said, You're her, the one who exposed her husband. I smiled. That's me. I need your lawyer's number, she said. My husband just asked me to sign something for his business, and I realized I have no idea what our accounts look like. I gave her Simone's card, told her to mention my name. Trust your partner if you want. But always, always verify the numbers. Because the most expensive thing you can ever say in a marriage isn't, I love you. It's, I trust you with the money.